Hey, happy Thor's Day. It's July 11th, and I'm recording this minutes after Venus, has moved into the sign of Leo, and she'll be there to the next new moon in Leo on August 4th. So, what can you kind of anticipate? Not necessarily so much expect, but because anticipation is different, it's allowing things to come to you of their own volition, and Venus connected to the principle of magnetism and attraction. Once we understand our own inner values and our inner worth, and we're loyal to that inner truth after contemplation and meditation and prayer, or however you access all of that, then we can kind of have tranquility, calmness, be a little bit like the Stoic and just kind of expect or anticipate is better things to come our way. And Venus and Leo, heartfelt sign, Astro RM, astrology and our raw material. Leo represents the pillar of feelings. And so, no, you can't tell a person how to feel what they should feel, but you can just feel the feelings. And one thing that Adam Gainsbourg talks about in his Light of Venus is that we know two things about when we don't have love or power. So when we don't feel that reciprocity, that we got each other's back kind of a thing, and not out of some clannish, obligatory stuff, but just out of, hey, I see you, you see me, we see each other. Venus is that beautiful sweet spot of interdependency, not the codependency of the Venus in the evening star phase. That's the lover side of Venus, where it enacts the rituals of love. We don't know if they're feeling it or not. Or as one of my friends says, everybody in the beginning of the relationship sends their representative. And we are in an evening star phase in Gemini right now until the end of March of 2025. And I'm bringing up more evening and morning star because my first and only certification comes from Ariel Gutman, who wrote Venus Star Rising and the Venus Star Point. And so I'm the first American to have that. And that's about 10, 11 years ago. And I kind of was, complacent about sharing it more because I just didn't think people were ready to hear it. And, any number of reasons, but you don't want to hear all of that. But the warrior side of Venus, the morning star side of Venus, and, again, you can DM, reach out, and give me just your birthday. You don't have to give the time, and I can say whether you're evening or morning. The morning star people embody their values. They're the Taurus side of Venus, the early bird getting the worm. And so this Venus and Leo for all of us until August 4th is about transforming, our individual values, those personal preferences that we think should be universal truths, or we don't have the same value system, so therefore I don't want to reach out or be receptive to you. Well, that ship has sailed. Sailed. That ship has sailed because basically now until that August 4th, where Venus will now start to be regularly seen in the evening sky. She's on her return track to Earth. So back to life, back to reality. You know that old school joint from about 30 years ago, From Soul to Soul? Well, Venus is bringing us to return to reality. And one of the best ways we can create more synergy and more interpersonal equilibrium is by knowing ourselves. So, since the morning star phase of August 13th of 2023 in Leo, by the way, if you've been in this 10, 11-month track of really, really wanting to understand your heart motivation, your spirit, your feelings, because Leo in Astro RM, astrology and our raw material, and you can always go there at www.ourrawmaterial.com. That fifth pillar, the fifth sign, goes to the pillar of feelings. And so Venus in Leo over these next approximately 3.5 weeks, all about our heartfelt, authentic feelings. And our heart is really in between the head, the brain, the executive reasoning, where we often get stuck in resistance and ego fears, and the gut, the body, the how it affects us in our bodies. And if you know anything about the chakras, the heart chakra is called anahata, and in Sanskrit it means unstruck. So evening stars are more likely to enact in terms of love and relationship, to actually project a sense of themselves into the relationship and to see if they're going to get it back. And they can be detached and either detached from an outcome in their healthiest way, anticipating what the other person may need or want is different than expecting it to come back. So it's kind of a twist of that golden rule. Well, if I keep giving you this, then you're going to give it back. Well, what if I switch that as an evening star or this evening star in Gemini that we're all under and start to return to the reality of how I've been wounded, how I've been hurt, how I've been betrayed? So if, for instance, you've been lied to, or betrayed in any kind of way, then instead of getting caught up in I'm going to do this for you, you decide, oh, I'm going to be as truthful with myself and then not expect the other person to be truthful, but truthful in terms of what you express, and then anticipate that if it's a mutual attraction, which Venus is all about, then the other person will preferably get on board. So this Leo energy, Venus, has a lot to do with all of us understanding the dynamics of equality and inequality in relationship. Because just tomorrow on Friday the 12th, she will be in a complementary 180-degree aspect of Pluto and Aquarius, not in opposition. I don't use the word opposition anymore because that keeps us in binary. That keeps us in our intellect. That keeps us in, you know, power dynamics of that are more about ego and attachments and expectations in a relationship, and also the expectations we put on ourselves, those shoulds, versus the evolutionary impulse of our souls, recognizing the complementary energies of a Leo Aquarius. It's about individual participation. How do you take individual participation in developing and contemplating your authentic intelligence as it comes from the heart? All of us. And if you say, I don't have any Leo, well, you have a sun sign. So we all perform Leo based on our sun sign. Breathe, right? And then Aquarius, Pluto and Aquarius is saying we have a collective transformation going on about how do we individually participate in our chosen communities. Hint, do you want to be heard or do you want to be right? Are you projecting kind of an outward ideal into your chosen communities, certain expectations that others follow your ideals? Or are you projecting an intention and alignment to these larger inclusive ideals? And if it's the projecting an intention of inclusivity, then it's a really good complementary energy between the heart centeredness, the Venus magnetism, with her and Leo, vis a vis the intellectual intention that Aquarius and Leo can sometimes get caught up in. And it's just a feeling energetic difference. Leo and Astro RM, astrology and our raw material, is that fifth pillar of feelings. Aquarius is the 11th pillar of aligning with intention. We have multiple intentions on a daily basis, on a moment to moment basis. But the more that we pause, breathe, hydrate, or just go into ignorance about we don't know why a person does what they do, and just being able to just pause and reflect, then we can balance our feelings in the Leo energy, which are kind of fun and dramatic and whatever, but with Are these feelings serving a higher and more inclusive purpose, Aquarius? So here we go. And as she moves into her evening star and separates from the sun, Venus, then every sunset beginning July 21st, and definitely by July 29th, where you will see her even more. So those are 8 days from the 21st of July to the 29th. She's just dim, and if you don't go out right at sunset, you might miss her. But as 29th, we'll go into a 5.5 month process from July 29th of where she will set with the sun. And if the sun is one of the metaphors, the sunset of reflecting on your day, and in some cultures it was the end of the day represented death, then we will authentically keep our hearts open for those who are invisible, our ancestors, and those who are elderly, who may actually be closer to the realm of ancestors, and then the children and all of that. We cease and desist thinking of death as an ending. Because in our hearts, there's room for all.